All right, we're obviously very excited to be here for Iron Bowl week, and had some really good practices so far leading up to this. But it's going to be a very exciting football game in terms of for our fans and for our players and coaches. This is the kind of game that you love to play in. You know, this is what college football is all about. And just a great rivalry against obviously a great opponent, and it's going to be a good football game. So we've got to really prepare well these next 2 or 3 days and be ready to go into Tuscaloosa, which is going to be a very tough place to play, as are all places on the road in this league, as we all know. So we've got to be very well prepared to go in there. Still have a few days left to get ready, and we're going to be excited about the game and excited about the venue, and it's going to be a fun day.
Questions? Gene, so much has talked about their running game, deservedly so. They throw it around pretty good too. Could you talk about defending the group of wide receivers they've got?
Oh yeah. Well, I'll just really kind of start with throwing a little bit of stats out there to you. You know, they're the number 3 scoring offense in this league, and in this league right now there's a lot of people scoring a lot of points, so that says something. The quarterback is throwing for around 70% in terms of completion rate, which is off the chart. He's got some great receivers that he can go to. They are very willing to throw it down the field. You know, their running game, they've got obviously 2 great running backs. Richardson is getting healthy, I'm sure. He's rushed for, close to 700 yards. You got Mark Ingram, who obviously missed a couple of games, and he's back healthy and running extremely tough, running extremely well, getting some tough yards. And again, the quarterback is really doing a great job throwing the football, over 2,000, I think close to probably 2,400 yards passing the ball. And McElroy also is he's only thrown 5 interceptions all year, which in 11 games is pretty outstanding. So really just a tremendous offense that's going to challenge us defensively again, with great receivers, very well coached, and they've got it. They're hitting on all cylinders. So it's going to be it's going to obviously be a huge challenge for us.
Would a track meet be something that you think would be falling into more of your style on site?
Would a what?
A track meet, where it's up and down the field, you're talking with their
I'm never into a track meet. I mean, that's not what we want. But we've got to play well defensively against a team like this, or it would be a track meet. They've certainly got the potential to make it that. So we're going to have to play really well on defense. We've been preparing really well. I think we've got a really good plan. But again, we're going to play against some great players and a great scheme. So I'd like it to be a track meet for our offense, but that's not. I'd like that every week. But this is the #1 scoring defense in the country, so we're not anticipating that. We're anticipating an extremely tough game. They're giving up under 13 points a game, and in this league, that's unbelievable. They're playing unbelievable defense again this year. And again, the only thing you're looking at is scoring defense. All the other things, you can pretty much throw them out the window. And when you're giving up that few points per game, obviously that's going to be a very formidable challenge for our offense. So again, I think it's just all the way around. Offense, defense, special teams, just a huge challenge for us, because this is a great football team.
Gene, you talked about obviously the goal is to get to the SEC championship, but beating Alabama's got, the SEC championship aside, this has got to be a major goal for you guys.
Well, I think it's, whenever you talk to anybody that has a rivalry of any sort, certainly an in-state one, it's huge for everybody involved. It's huge for the players and the coaches, obviously. It's huge for the fan base. Again, it's what makes it's what makes college football great, these type of rivalries, and certainly this is one of the greatest in college football. So yes, it's very important to everybody. And big picture or no big picture, this game is extremely important to us as coaches, definitely our players and certainly our fans.
Could you talk about Cam's preparation to this point for this game, and also when you look at the season he's had, could he possibly get any better? I mean, are there things where you look at him and say, yeah?
Well, in the first 11 games, with Cameron, which is what I will speak about, you know, it's been an evolution, as I've said, and he's continued to improve. I think every player on the field has an opportunity to improve. I don't think there's any question about that. You know, our whole offense has, I think, week by week, gained a little more confidence, you know, and I think that, again, as a whole, you know, everywhere on our team, we still have, you know, we've got 3 games where we've got to improve. I mean, that's what we have left on our schedule. We've got 3 games left. So our whole team has an opportunity and a great challenge to improve against the next 3 games, 3 great football teams. Not good ones, great ones. And so that's going to be a great challenge for our whole team.
How much respect do you have for Saban and Coach Smart over there? They've been pretty good at figuring ways to shut out guys like Mallett and everything, figuring out ways to shut down star players. How big a challenge do they present, just kind of team?
Well, obviously, you know, again, it's a very talented football team on the defensive side of the ball. There's no question about that. They're very well coached. There's no question about that. When you put those 2 things together, you know, you usually come up with a really good offense or defense, depending on what you're talking about. But obviously, when you're the #1 scoring defense in this league, you're doing a great job of coaching, and you got really good players, and they've got both of those.
How much more impressive is that, given the fact that you already mentioned the way offenses are lighting it up this year?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that's kind of the point. You know, this league is a tough league right now in terms of scoring offense. You know, there's a lot of explosive players in this league right now at these skill positions, certainly at quarterback and wideout. And, you know, so that being said, you know, that just kind of magnifies how good they really are on defense.
Gene, the SEC sent out a stat yesterday that the top 5 teams in the West 34-1 against everybody except each other. Just kind of talk about what it's been like this season, that kind of round robin in this division.
You know, we feel like obviously this is arguably, you know, one of the best, if not the best league in the country, period. It doesn't matter which side you're talking about. This is one of the years where the West it's brutal to survive in the West. I mean, it's just the way it is, and you just got great coaching. You've got great players. You know, it's just really tough, and you know, it's always been tough, and I think everybody, you know, has always, you know, known that, and everybody understands that. But this year might this year might be the best it's been in some time. I don't know, you know, over 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I'm not sure, but I just know in quite some time this may be as good as this side has been.
Coach,
Alabama likes to try in the last couple games to get into a rhythm on offense, kind of like you guys do. How important is it going to be for a guy like Nick Fairley and your defensive line to interrupt it and disrupt that?
Well, I think there's no question for us to be able to be in this ball game, our defense has got to make some plays on early downs. I don't think there's any question that, you know, with the rhythm that they're in, with a controlled passing game that they're really, really efficient at in the physical downhill running game, we're going to have to be really good on those early downs and try to get some negative plays. And it's going to start with our defensive line, all 4 of those guys up front. And so, you know, that's going to be a great challenge for us. But they've really been in a rhythm. They've really, you know, they've been executing really very, very well. So it's going to be our job on defense, which will be a huge challenge to try to get in there and disrupt some things early and try to, you know, get a rhythm of our own defensively. And that'll be the goal.
Why has Nick kind of been off limits to the media the last couple of weeks?
Who?
Nick Fairley.
Don't really know the answer to that. You know, we just we have different reasons why different guys can talk to the media and not, and that's really at the discretion myself for a lot of different reasons. So we don't really go into all the reasons of why they do and why they don't. But you know, if they're not, then I can assure you there's usually a really good reason.
Coach, can you talk about Lee Zimba's durability and toughness to start 50 consecutive games at his position in this conference?
Unbelievable. The guy, you know, the guy is really, you know, durable is the first word that, you know, that comes to mind with a guy like that who plays at that position, and, you know, is just with how many starts he's had and how much he's played, and you know, at a position where you can get very beat up, especially with the great defensive lines that we play with week in and week out. It's an amazing feat that he's been able to do that so far. So, and Lee has really improved as a football player. I just think, you know, from last year, comparatively speaking to this year, you know, I just think he's come, you know, he's come miles, miles and miles. And so that's one guy that we probably don't speak of really enough, who's really been a great centerpiece for our offense, you know, in terms of an anchor on our offensive line. And he's been a rock. He's been great.